Welcome to the Strategic Life Podcast, episode 105. Don't get scammed with your host, Coach Mario.
Dr. Mario.
Along with Frank.
I mean, say no more. Don't get scammed.
It happens.
I mean, gone are the days where you just get that random email of the Nigerian prince that has $195,000 and he's willing to give you 30 if you just, do this little bank transfer for him or wire fraud, right?
Yeah,
great.
It used to be that obvious.
Not anymore.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, I think that's the OG of scams, right? The person in another country that's willing to randomly send you an email for you to do them a favor, and they'll break you off a few grand.
Yeah,
Easiest
they won
money ever
the
made.
multi-million-dollar lottery, and they want you to send them X amount of money so that they can put it in a U.S. bank, and you can keep something for
It's
managing the transaction.
it's always a large percentage.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but what we want to get at here is don't get scammed. There's lots of really creative ways people can spoof your phone numbers. That was accessible, good Lord, years ago.
Yeah.
I had it when I first jailbroke my iPhone, 3GS back in the early 2000s.
Oof, the jailbreak.
Yeah, when I jailbroke my phone, there was a spoofing phone app, and so I was calling people from their own number, and just like in front of them, at work, I'm like, or if I knew them enough and I had relatives' numbers, I'd call them, and you could literally just put in the number of where you wanted the call to come from, and you could call from, for instance, could call from their mom's phone. And they're like, what the heck? And I'm like, hello, I'm in the house. And they'd be like, what is going on? Good times. That's not an admission of guilt.
That was BC.
Or
I love how he says.
That was
I love how he
that was
says. I used to do this at work.
That
Like
was
a picture
BC.
coach just sitting there making his hourly wage, phone ringing in a cubicle, boss walking around.
I mean,
Just-
at this point, this is when I was no longer on the phones back then. But what we're getting at is just really creative ways. I mean, if you deal with anything that's real estate, you're going to see a massive, or even financials, right? A massive thing.
I thought we were going to talk about realtors.
What do you want to talk about, realtors?
Oh no!
Is there one
I
on
have
your
them
mi-
on my list
is-
of don't get scared.
Is there one on your mind? Is there one on your mind? What's her name?
Experience.
No. That's not the way that works.
No, it doesn't.
But there's a massive thing in the bottom of the signature of most of these real estate or banking institutions, and it says, "Don't get scammed. Wire fraud is on the rise." Just giving all these instructions and ways to protect yourself, because why it's happening. So, fun fact: I was doing an inspection a couple years ago for a client. We finished the inspection, and then he goes, "Okay, what's next?" to the realtor who was there, and I was just, I had already given my data from the inspection, and she goes, "Oh, well, now we have to take care of the wire, the wire and everything else." And he goes, "I handled that this morning," and by the look on her face, she goes, "That's not possible. I just got the instructions like a couple hours ago." Again, I don't know how this works, but she's like, she was mortified. She's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, I sent the whole payment. I sent the whole thing. I sent the wire." Cash for the whole condo. Come to find out, it was wire fraud.
Wow.
He sent the whole payment for I think like $165,000 or $175,000
Good luck
to a
with
random
that.
account, and got
Bye.
essentially. So it's a real thing. Obviously, people do what they do.
No, business owners too.
It's crazy.
Some of these invoices are changed. We've seen it where they've hacked the email, changed the invoice to show a different bank account, and then resent it from that same inbox. So we've seen where somebody's paid large six figures in an invoice wire, and good luck.
Bye.
And those guys are smart once they start doing it at that level. Like, it's not a U.S. bank account either, right? Like, so good luck tracing. No, have fun with that.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place.
Yeah, but we can start there. If you're buying real estate, make sure you're smarter than your realtor. Right, we'll get to that. At me realtors. Have fun with that one. But most of these places now have some sort of secured website they'll send you with the wire instructions. So it's not just, oh, you're going to get an email with wire instructions. No. And if you do get that, stop what you're doing. Make sure you're confirming this, because most of these houses now, developers and even banks will, hey, we're going to create a specific portal. You'll have the information in there, and that PDF cannot be downloaded.
Right.
So you can only view it in the portal. Once you download the PDF, it's blank. So it doesn't let somebody download it, make the changes, and re-upload. So make sure we have the tech for it. So if you can ask your bank or your lender to make sure that they have a system like that in order for you to feel confident about how you're wiring this money.
I mean, and of course, then just always verify, even if you get instructions. I mean, here's a simple one too. There's still the basic scamming emails. Obviously, one thing you can always do is just read it. There's usually grammatical errors, right?
Correct.
If you get an invoice from someone, there's usually grammatical errors. There's usually something wrong. Especially, I've noticed it mostly at the bottom with the terms and conditions and all that. It can be just one word. This intention to collect debt. It's like, what? Wait a minute. You go back and read it, and then you start noticing other things. Like, wait a minute, this Chase doesn't use this font. Let me look at my other emails, and you'll notice it's completely separate from anything else. So there's common sense stuff as far as digital things, emails. It's easy to just what our systems do to make things easier. Instead of they don't show the email addresses, they show like the name. So you click the name, and it'll say an email from Chase Client Services, and you click it, and then the email is
ABC123
at mindspring.co. This, that, and it's like, this is not from Chase.
Not from
Exactly.
Chase.
So always check the top, always check the bottom, always read it, and never click a link. I don't click links anyway.
I don't.
Even when they're Chase.
That makes two of us.
Even if you
Three.
you have an important message from your bank institution, I'm like, cool. Chase.com in the browser.
Well, a couple things.
I don't
right?
click the link.
Yeah, these they won't reach out to you via that way. Like, they'll send you something on the actual app that forces you to log in, your Face ID, go into the app, see your bank account, then click on messages. They're not just going to send you some random text about, stop payment on this. They don't do that. One, two, like, same thing. If you're going to get text messages or emails, you can just swipe and remove that. If you do have to make some sort of transaction where you do have to, example, send a wire, make sure you have your banker on the line, the only time they're useful. So make sure that you have them on the line. Well, it is what it is. I am what I am. Make sure you have them on the line and they're confirming the information with you, and they can see what's posting and things like that. Sometimes these really big companies have automated stuff. So even if you're sending the wire to the right place, we've seen it where, buying property, you send the wire. Oh, we weren't expecting the wire for, 7 more days. Well, we have the money. We sent it. We got the email with everything. And then you did everything correctly.
Oh, we cashed it. We just don't know where it was applied.
Yeah, so sometimes that can happen. So make sure you always have, the right people around you.
Right, because the number one element is nowadays they send you an email from a very well-known organization that you have dealt with, that you are dealing with.
Correct.
And so that's the number one piece of the scam. But as my colleagues have shared, one of my go-tos is no click on the links.
Correct.
And number two, I immediately check the from email.
Yeah.
That'll stop it pretty much right there. 9 times out of 10. You have good example. I had an invitation to go to Europe and be a speaker at a major conference. And so I checked the email, and it was a Gmail, and it had the name of the conference. But I went on Google and looked at the conference. So one of the mistakes was the conference that they were inviting me to was on a particular weekend date. But the actual conference was in the fall, not in the summer. So I go, And so what I did was I did not click, and I did not go any further there. I actually went to the Congress director, wrote them an email and said, hey, by the way, I've been invited, allegedly, and I use the terminology, because it looked like a fraud, from Pastor so-and-so for your conference. However, I see that the dates are in the fall and the invitation has a different date.
However, I am available. Here's my current rate.
And next day, I received from the assistant conference director an email. That's a scam.
Yeah.
First of all, that pastor is in good standing with us, but he does not invite anyone to the conference. Second,
Interesting.
the conference is on this particular date. And here, we apologize. Let us know if you have incurred any costs, because
We did, and you'll be invoiced for it.
I guess that was the next step, right? They're inviting you, but you've got to make a payment, which again is the number 3 piece, which is they tell you there's a problem or an opportunity.
Yeah.
And number 3, you have to pay for it.
Correct.
And so, because I've been on the speaking circuit since the early 90s, I know I don't typically have to pay to speak. I get paid to speak. And then they require you to pay. So they wrote me a nice letter and said, just forward us the information, because we've already had other people that have fallen into that particular scam. So even pastors and churches are not exempt from these scammers. They attack anyone. So
No, and nobody's safe from being
Scammed.
targeted.
no. No. What I was gonna say, being used for manipulation, right? So
Yeah,
here as an accountant, the IRS doesn't call anybody.
Nope.
The IRS doesn't send text messages.
Nope.
The IRS does not send you emails. The IRS or any state, right? So any municipality or jurisdiction does not send any of that. So if you're getting emails, text messages, or phone calls from any state agency or government agency or federal agency, you could just click off, because they're not doing any of that.
And sometimes you can tell they're robocalls, right?
Correct.
The
So-
Social
so-
Security office has a warrant for your arrest.
Correct. No, but those stuff. But yeah, again, IRS sends written communication, and once they send you written communication, sometimes they'll allow you to use a specific portal to talk to an agent.
Right.
But again, that's via written communication for you to access that portal. So it's not just So if you're getting anything like that, because I've seen it sometimes. Oh, an IRS agent called me. They don't call anybody. They barely pick up the phone. You think you're gonna sit there and call. So yeah. So again, nobody's safe.
And the challenge is that all of them have the same sense of urgency, and you can tell it's a scam because they want your money now.
Yeah. Right.
Pay now. Here's the link.
Yeah.
Invest
Correct,
now,
correct.
etc.
Yeah, I mean, there's I forgot what website it was. Like a year ago, my buddy sent me a link to. He's like, "Oh, here you can watch these new anime shows. Like it's all streaming through this website." Of course, not an American website, because of course streaming you'd have to pay for it. So what do you have to deal with? Close the 5 or 6 windows that pop up, and in some cases, every once in a while, when I'd click there to watch the show, what would happen? You have a virus, and so you click there, and then they would do like this kind of like you'd click here to whatever, and it would do like this calendar embed in your calendar, and it would pop up and it would disable your calendar. So anytime you open your calendar, and I've also seen it that way, and I also saw it another way where it would block your Safari.
Wow.
All you had to do is clear your cookies and it'd be gone. But if you didn't know any better, every time you go to open Safari, you'd open your internet browser and you can't open it. It would say, this is infected. You need to clean it. Call this number.
And that's why we don't watch anime.
So I had someone who told me, hey, I know you're good with phones. I'm getting this thing. And I'm like, clear your cookies. She's like, I called them. They want like $70. I'm going to pay it. I can't get on anything. I go, just go to settings on your internet browser and clear your cookies. There's no way they can infect it like that. It's just linking back. And sure enough, they cleared it out. They're like,
Yeah, they'll hold your things.
She's like, I was
Another
about to
scam.
pay it. And I'm like, yeah.
I've gotten PayPal
just disable.
invoices.
Oh, that
PayPal ones.
yeah.
Oh, those are great. No, I owe PayPal. I owe PayPal $28 for transactions that's never been there, and I'm like, I'm never gonna pay this. Like somebody hacked my stuff.
Now they send you an invoice
Yeah,
for
and-
something that you didn't even buy.
No, but they'll hack your PayPal
Yes,
and they'll
yes.
do something and minimal. And that's how they want you to go in there, update your new card, but somebody already hacked it. So when no, I'll open up a new PayPal account. Good luck with that $28.
I did
Have
that.
fun.
I did that.
Have fun.
I had to do that.
Another one
Yeah.
too. These people, and I say these people because it's usually around like your web domains and around your corporations. They'll send you the annual business notice. Renewal, and it'll say real small.
Okay,
this is not a bill. So basically, they're doing what you can do with like Sunbiz. You just pay your fee. They're doing it for you, but charging you like $200-300. But they make it look like it's coming from the county, from the state.
Yeah, so
crazy looking renewal forms,
which is cool, right? I'm glad you touched up on it. So yeah, so a couple things. If you get the workers' comp posters, if you're a business owner or you have a Fed ID, you're registered somewhere. If you get any of those, again,
Scam.
what coach says, read the bottom. It'll say this is not law enforcement or government agency. This is a private company and our name is ABC Inc. Right? So just throw those away or reach out to your
They make it look
accountant.
real official. They have like a official
Yeah.
Florida
Same
document.
thing, renewals.
Right.
Another thing, IRS is free. There is nothing the IRS charges for. The IRS does not charge for anything. So if you have anybody telling you, oh, well, the IRS is going to charge you a fee. No, the IRS does not charge fees. That is a taxpayer service. It's free. Now, to file your taxes is free. Now, hey, no, I need somebody professionally done because I don't know how to do it. That's the service you're paying for, right? But the actual form to submit it or have an agent review it, that's free.
Nada.
Same thing. So if you get any of this weird, crazy stuff, like, no, you're not supposed to pay for any of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Or nobody's exempt. They target older people.
Yeah.
They target young people. It's just amazing. And for those of you who are not in Florida, Sunbiz is a division of the Florida Department of Corporations.
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, Division of Corporations. And so that's how we register organizations in Florida. But it happens in other states as well.
Yeah. Ooh. But that...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but I was going to... That's another way people are getting scammed, and it's by people, right?
Yes.
You'll sit down. We've seen it where people sit down with these accountants, and right now it's tax season. So for you guys, if your accountant is saying, "Well, they're going to deposit the money in my bank account and then I'll send it to you,"
No bueno.
stop, because most of that's not right. No, I've seen it.
I know it's scams. I know it exists.
Right? And for we're gonna get real local on this. That's some Hialeah stuff, man.
Abracadabra, your money disappeared.
But I've seen it, and I've had it come. I've had people walk into my office, and hey, Frank, no, I haven't gotten my return from a couple years ago. And then when we reach out or we'll call, no, that was already sent. Here's the routing and account number that it was sent to. Well, I don't recognize that. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the tax form, right? And the tax form has their information on it. Well, what happened? Like, how did we get to that? How did we get to that bank account? IRS can run tracers. And then once we find out, well, it turns out they had 1,000 returns go to that same bank account. Ooh. Now we know it's the accountant's bank account. Right. So when the IRS sees things like that, and so don't do those things, because what can be happening,
What it was.
right, or most likely, they're telling you, hey, you're gonna get a $5,000 refund when you really are getting $7,000 back.
Right.
And they're keeping $2,000. So that can happen. So make sure that's people scam people, right? And that's one way that it's being done. So no, make sure that it goes directly to you. So be very careful during tax season. Be very careful where you put your information. We've heard of big companies being hacked, right? So
Yeah.
the TurboTaxes of the world and Intuit and all those things. We've heard of those companies being hacked, and then your information's out there, and sometimes it'll happen. Hey, rejected, filing already received. Whoa, wait, what? How? This is I'm doing my tax for my first time. No, somebody has your
Sometimes-
information and it was sent out.
What we say in Spanish is lo barato sometimes sale caro.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You're trying to save some pennies and buying either a software or giving it to a best friend that's going to maybe charge you $25 or it's going to wash your car or whatever. No bueno.
come you don't wash
My
my
recommendation is if you have a CPA, great, because they're licensed. And if you don't have a CPA, you get someone like Frank. They have a IRS preparer's ID number.
Yeah,
They're
enrolled agents. We
enrolled
can sign the
agents.
return. Yeah, man. So know where you're
That
going.
gives the public confidence, trust. That's what we're talking about here. Trust the individuals that are professionals, like Frank,
yeah.
shameless plug, and others out there that do it, and they do it to serve you, not to serve themselves.
Yeah, but know where you're sending your information. And we've seen it now, right? A lot of people, I'll text you the information. Whoa,
No.
No, hey, I'll give you a call and we'll do it over the phone, right? So I rather do things like that, right? Sometimes, just email me, and then we're talking about it. Emails get hacked. Good luck with that, right?
Yeah, speaking about those phone calls, a lot of the third agers receive these phone calls about, Can you verify your social security number? By the way, verificar tu número de seguro social in Spanish?
Your Medicare, right? Your Medicare benefits are changing. Please type in your information, your last four of your social to confirm. And you're 1, 2, 3 here.
No se lo des.
Yeah, don't do any of that.
Don't do it.
And if you're taking care of somebody in the third age, right? Make sure that you're looking out for them, right? Tell them, hey, look, I just heard this real cool podcast with these real cute guys. You know, like they're telling me that, they're telling me to look out for you. Please don't do these kind of things. So, yeah.
There is such a thing as abuse of elders, and there's a strong law in Florida that protects the third agers.
I love we keep talking about Florida.
I know. Yeah.
And if you're not from here, go home.
There you go.
So speaking which, also with phone calls, I mean, obviously there's tons of robocallers and all these things, which is just such a waste of time. Because at least for any small business owner, I'm sure it's more than the average person, since you have a listed phone number somewhere. Even if you're using Google Voice or some other third party, you're still going to get these spam calls, right? But ultimately, some of the latest things that I've heard is people call or text from numbers that you have in your phone saying it's your relative or a cousin or somebody. I'm in trouble. I need help. I need money. Send money.
Like
fast.
now, I'm at the airport.
I've seen
that a few times too.
Yeah. So what they'll do is, and I've seen it firsthand. What they'll do is they'll call, for example, they'll call Dr. Mario, and it'll sound like broken. So he'll be there, hello, hi, and they'll grab those words and they'll be able to edit it one way or another. Then hang up. Then they send you a text from that phone and via WhatsApp or something, telling you, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of you. I don't have reception. Can you Zelle me $200?
Right.
And it's coming from that phone. You just got a phone call from that phone, and I've seen it. And then before you know it, you're zelling money, and now you're stuck.
No bueno.
Correct.
And you call them an hour later. Did you get the money? What are you talking about?
Those things happen, man.
It doesn't just happen to third agers. It happens to 21-year-olds, 35-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
Scammers are no respecter of persons. There are equal opportunity scammers.
Guys, if you're gonna give information, whether it's your driver's license, social, bank account, marital status, whatever it is, if you're gonna do things like that, your information, or you're gonna send money, make sure you have somebody on the line that you know it's them, you confirm it's them. And again, that's not if you're not in person, of course. And then you're confirming with them. So, hey, Frank, I'm going to send you something. Yeah, I'll give you a call as soon as I received it, right?
When we were in full practice in our law firm, Frank, we were able, maybe Mario knows about this, we were able to get individuals that came to us and said, we went to a hospital to take my father, and someone has used all of their benefits because they used their social security number.
Yeah.
So at that time, we were, I don't want to say ignorant, but we were unaware that was even a thing. And then once we got into that case, we discovered that these scammers also use social security numbers for children. Because children in those years until they get employed don't use that number.
Wow. That's crazy.
And it's like, they have no heart, no backbone.
No. So
that's why they're called scammers.
Ultimately, in most of these scenarios, in most of these situations, one thing they have in common is that they're trying to create a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
They want you, hey, you just won the contest. You got to submit your information now. The same thing with the phone calls with a family member in trouble. I need money now.
Yeah.
Why? Because before you can talk to someone else or get a second opinion, they're more likely to get you while, they're striking while the oven's hot. So if there's anything that something needs to be done right away or otherwise you lose the chance to get the prize or the business or, that's already a red flag because there's always a sense of urgency around it. So other than that, click your links, read the bottom, check everything. I mean, one thing with me, especially, I've had, I think a month ago, someone called and said, hi, we're a debt collection agency calling on behalf of it was a credit card that I don't have. And so I was like, is this Mario Garcia? Yes. Do you reside at this address? I go, I'm not sure. Like, you're calling me.
Thank you. That's my response.
I'm not confirming that. If that's what it says. Whatever you have is what it says. Okay, can you verify? No, I cannot. Why would I do that?
Correct.
Yep. You're supposed to know.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're calling me.
Oh, well, without this, this is an intent to collect the debt. I'm like, I know the words, and why would I give you this information? Just tell me what you have to say. We're calling you references card. I don't have that card, but we have here. Cool.
Take me off your list.
If I need to give my information, then we're starting off on the wrong
There's
footing.
several Mario Garcias.
Why don't you
in
tell me
Miami
your
and
home address
Orlando.
and your real name, please, ma'am?
Yeah.
I'd like to know, why don't you give me yours and I'll give you mine? You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Same thing. The reason that happens is because some of that information is public record, right?
Yeah.
So your credit, specifically for business owners, it's people can pull up who you owe money to. They might not be able to see, depending on the debt, they might not be able to see the specifics of it, but they can definitely see, and that's just public record, let alone if they have somebody shady. So let's say, one of these people has, somebody working at a bank where they can run credit reports or credit repairs or something to that extent, right? Or payroll companies, tax companies, and they can see information. If they're selling that under the table, they're selling that out the back door, man. Like there's no way to stop that, right? So because these places have that, so you have to be very careful. So your information can end up wherever. And again, some of it is public record, so you have to be very smart with that.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. So, protect yourself.
yeah, man,
I
at
mean-
all time.
Clarify and verify.
Yeah.
Technology is a beautiful thing, but people are using it in different ways now, and unfortunately, I don't want to be a statistic, y'all. So I'm always extra careful with anywhere I send.
Well, that's what tech. Yeah, misinformation is also a way people get scammed. I'll give you a good one that lands on my desk all the time. Solar panels.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. They're up there on the list,
don't go there.
right?
He's got some history.
No, it's not. So why that happens, right? Those sit there and it's misinformation. Those guys, they might be really good at solar panels and all that. But when you hear stuff like the solar panel guy or girl telling you, oh no, this pays itself and you're going to get IRS credits. Stop and ask them, oh, when's the last time you did a tax return? Oh, no, but we know the form, right? The 5695. Okay, when's the last time you filled one of those things out? Okay, you feel that confident about the solar panel? I'm going to print one out via PDF. You fill it out, and then we're going to call my accountant. Watch how things change, right? Because
Quickly.
you have to be very careful with those things because not everybody gets these tax credits.
Right.
Not everybody gets, these benefits. Not everybody can get these loans.
everyone can
Oh,
Not everyone
yeah.
can qualify.
So we get that with lending too, right? Oh, no. We're pre-qualifying you. Yeah, that means nothing, right? Then they're going to sit there. They're going to run your credit app, and then that's going to take dings. Then they're going to go in there and then pump you full of a bunch of stuff before you know it. And then you've been 2-3 hours at the dealer. You've been 2-3 hours at the bank. You're jacked up. And then out of nowhere, hey, we're going to give you the car, but not at the 3% we promised. It's going to be 4.5. Okay, your payment just went up $100. Like, and you're already like, I just want the car at this point. So you have to be very careful with things like that. When people promise you those things or they tell you how you can get them, verified first, right? Hey, no, you can get a tax credit for this. Cool. Let me call my accountant. Can we touch base? Now that you're talking about tax credits, let me make sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I've also seen where they'll tell them, okay, we're gonna give you the tax credit, but you have to do your taxes with our accountant. Oh, I've seen a bunch of that.
Red flag.
I've seen a bunch of that already. And like I'll get on the phone with their accountant. I'm like, hey, cool. No, you know what? Yeah, no. I just want a proper introduction, and I'm gonna send the file over. No problem. Okay. We talk to the accountant. Hey, by the way, like, how are you doing this? What's going on? Did you qualify them already? Did you see their income? How do you know they qualify? Well, we know we're gonna get it back. Blah blah blah. And before you know it, that accountant is charging $1,000, $1,500. I've seen $2,000 for the tax credit for the solar panel, right? So people can get scammed with stuff like that. So you got to be very careful, man. When they talk about, legal, medical, tax, those kind of things, go to your professional.
It's better to pay whatever the CPA or the attorney is going to charge you to verify and keep you from jumping into a contract that will scam you than it is to get you out of it once you sign the dotted line.
Well, Dr. Mark, you've been a lawyer. Like, I've never charged my client for asking me for advice or a consultation. I've never like, hey, you know what? And we bill high per hour too, but we don't sit there and if you're going to call me and ask me about the solar panels, I'll review it with you. Okay, yeah, there's a good idea. Cool. If I got to bill you for it, okay, it's going to take me an extra 10 minutes. Okay, then, whatever. Then that's where you get billed. But just to give you information, I've never seen an attorney say, oh, I'm going to start dinging you on the clock for that phone call.
Usually it's a free consult.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Well,
Prevention.
Protect yourself.
yeah.
That's all we got.
Best way to say it.